Well, what an interesting surprise here. A bit out of nowhere this one, but we're actually having some updates to Guild Wars 1. In fact, Guild Wars 1 is being reforged. In fact, let's hope it goes a little better than that other game that got reforged, but we don't like to talk about that one so much. But I have every confidence that there could be some pretty interesting stuff here. But what is actually going on here? So let's talk about it. Okay, this year we've been grateful to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the launch of Guild Wars Prophecies and the start of the Guild Wars franchise. Spurred on by the wonderful community response, we're excited to announce Guild Wars Reforged, which will be available on December 3rd. Right, now, very, very important. Before we talk about what this is, we're gonna talk about what this isn't, because people are going crazy, they're going berserk, and I really want to help try to set these expectations here. This is not a remake. This is not a remaster, and this is not fresh, okay? What this is, and the closest thing that I can use with some kind of like, with a kind of a snappy set of words to describe it is, Guild Wars 1 is being slightly taken out of maintenance mode. Like, that's actually what's happening here. So just bear that in mind with what this actually is. So, what is going on here? Bundled price. So, Guild Wars Reforged, you buy it once, you get all of it. Makes sense. You're buying Guild Wars 1, the video game. Hardware compatibility. It's being added, it's been given Steam Deck support. Right? Support for modern controllers. The UI has also been redesigned with larger text options, and the game has support for high DPI displays. Visual and audio updates. Dynamic sky bloom effects, new ambient occlusion, and lighting updates take better advantage of modern GPUs. Other visual touch-ups refine textures to make for a cleaner visual experience, while new positional audio support makes the world more immersive. And there have been some UI updates here as well. Okay, so boom, there you go. New quest tracking system and an on-screen control guide. So they're trying to make it a bit more new player friendly, bring it up to modern standards. Oh yeah, that is a good point actually. You don't get Eye of the North here, I guess. Like you get Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall all in one. I guess you'll have to buy Eye of the North as well, if you want to get Eye of the North. So that's kind of the thing. I guess they think that one is kind of enough to stand on its own, I guess. So that's, you know, that's a thing, I suppose. That's also happening there, so bear that in mind. There's an updated logo as well, very, very exciting. And we're gonna get more details on this as well. Like, there's actually not a lot of detail here, guys, in this post. I think we're gonna learn a lot more about this over the next coming weeks and even tomorrow, because someone who just raided the stream to try and grief my sleep schedule. That's right, Lara is interviewing the devs tomorrow. And we'll get, I'm sure, a bunch of kind of more information, some context, some more details about what exactly is going to be going on there. And also perhaps some information about what the actual plan here, because right now the conversation is abuzz with, does this mean there's going to be new content, right? Are there going to be more graphics updates, right? You know, more new skills, balance tweaks, bug fixes, right? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone is just speculating wildly. And I think it's going to be really good to actually have some kind of contact with the developers here, talking about that and what the ideas might be. I'll tell you what though, for like my own little bit of personal speculation here, guys, this to me does actually whiff a little bit of potentially actually developing some new stuff for Guild Wars 1. I'm not saying an expansion, right? But I could certainly imagine universes where we're getting new bosses that you can capture elite skills from, bug fixes. I can see them adding maybe some quests that finish off some storylines, right, potentially, that perhaps haven't been fully concluded within the current version of the game that exists, right? Stuff like that, I think is potentially on the table here, because this is my read, guys. Let me explain why I think that. I think their anniversary event went really well. I think a lot of people played, and I bet they made a bit of cash, and they were thinking, hold on a minute, we've got Guild Wars 1 here. Maybe we should do something with that, right? Because think about the MMO industry, like where we're at right now, guys. ArenaNet is very much in a way behind the curve on this. All the other studios that run MMOs, they're, bringing back their old games. You got WoW Classic, you got old school RuneScape, right? Those are the big ones. And people are going, oh yeah, we love that, right? And Guild Wars 1 is almost the outlier here. It still holds up, in my opinion, big time. I played the game a lot. Obviously, I've got my Hall of Monuments maxed out. I've got my, we played Hardcore again on the anniversary, all that kind of stuff. It's a great game. It really, really does hold up, but it didn't really ever have that re-release. I say this a lot on stream actually. I think this is so, it's so tragically ironic here, in my opinion. Like the reason why stuff like OSRS and Classic WoW kind of surged back onto the market and back into the public discussion about MMOs. Do you know why that was? It's because those games basically got shut down and then brought back, yeah, in one way or another. But Guild Wars 1's just been going along the entire time, right? It's been, they just didn't shut the game down, right? So it never had that like resurgence. And I feel like this is almost what they're trying to do with this. They're trying to say, hey guys, we heard you guys like classic MMOs. We heard you like these classic MMORPGs. Well, here's a really good one. Remember this one? That's what this feels like. And I think that's a very savvy decision from ArenaNet. They can certainly get some players going here. Of course, it's not quite like those other games because it's not a relaunch. It's simply like a reminder this game exists. But look, I really do, but I am actually a big believer in Guild Wars 1. To be clear, I don't think this is some kind of cynical business move. I think ArenaNet have probably realized, well, could we just get a couple of devs on this and add stuff and almost have a little bit of a player base start to build up, get people actually playing this game a little bit? Right? Over time, again, we know they're cooking up other projects. Could they be looking to actually kind of have, essentially do what Blizzard is doing, right? And have multiple versions of their MMO? Do they want to do Guild Wars 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time? That will be really exciting, right? Like different games for different audiences, but also just a little bit of variety in your life, like within the franchise, right? That's how it works really well for Blizzard. You've got Retail WoW, Classic WoW, Remix, right? With Legion Remix, Season of Discovery, Hardcore. There's loads of stuff within that franchise that you enjoy that you can divide yourself up. And RuneScape does this too, like with leagues, for example, right? Like Iron Man, Hardcore, and of course like the regular realms as well, right? This is really good for keeping players engaged and kind of rotating people around, but moreover, just kind of giving people more of what they already want, right? More of the franchise, more of the universe that people really enjoy. So that would be, in my opinion, very smart. And I don't think you would need much. I really don't think you would need much, guys, to get this going. Like I said, look what happened when they added just a couple of new items with cool trails on and a new upgrade that gave you the primary stat from other professions. Or when they added new elite skills to the game. Yeah, people got engaged. And I think ArenaNet have probably been looking at that going, there's maybe some potential here. We could, again, so it's a small team, okay, 2 weeks of the devs who've been involved. And by the way, there's some crazy cool storylines about this. These are basically ex Guild Wars devs, right? And they've had quite the interesting trek through the games industry before and since then, of course, but now kind of back working with ArenaNet. So it's basically ex Guild Wars devs who are already familiar with the code base, already know what's going on with Guild Wars. And they're back in the mix now, bringing the invaluable insight and passion to the project. But look, there is something that's very interesting here as well. And this is potentially spicy, potentially very spicy. This studio actually specializes, or what they talk about, let me see if I can, wait, did I close Cheese Chase? It's over. Ah, yeah, here we go. So let's take a look at this. A new studio to rapidly create experimental projects for the open web. So specifically like web versions of web games, like they run in the web browser, essentially. And that is very interesting. Like, I mean, of course, this could be a bit of a red herring because it's probably more oh yeah, these are ex-Guild Wars devs who we could potentially work with there to, come back and work this project. And obviously, this might be completely related to their kind of like their studio itself and what their studio does. But I wonder if they'd actually consider a web version of Guild Wars 1. Because of course, it's certainly doable, right? With, with modern hardware, you could do that. But that would be interesting. I'm not even sure if that would be big. Like, would I want to play Guild Wars 1 in a web browser? I'm not sure about that one. Of course, RuneScape does it, right? But Would we want to do that in Guild Wars 1? I have no idea. Maybe you would. Tell me if you want to. Mobile? Well, it doesn't really talk about mobile in this article, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? Okay, mobile Guild Wars 2 could be really fun. We've got controller support already, so console is also some potential there as well. It'll be a bit awkward, obviously. We'd need a lot of updates, a lot of tweaks to make that possible. They've already kind of started to put the work in there as well. But yeah, really kind of got me thinking this stuff here as well. Very, very interesting, very curious to see what's going on. And yeah, I'm really happy to see this actually, because I'll tell you what, like I really did enjoy like replaying Guild Wars 1 when the anniversary came around and playing through on hardcore. And it's definitely a game that I view as extremely good. Like it's one of those games that I think has actually aged rather well. A couple of things haven't, or as they always do, obviously, but in general, Guild Wars 1 is really, really solid. And just, you know, you can see here, just look at the world that the game is, looking through all of these screenshots here at the bottom, which will now be even better. I imagine this is with all of those new lighting effects that we've been being told about within this article there as well. But yeah, I am really interested in where ArenaNet take this, and I hope we get details on this. I would love to hear their thought process on what their goals are with Guild Wars Reforged, okay, and where they want to see this project go down the line, right? Because this is a pretty interesting one. I cannot wait to see what they've cooked up, and I'll definitely be logging back in to Guild Wars 1 for this and continuing the hardcore adventure. If you're on YouTube, you probably thought we stopped ages ago, but spoiler alert, we actually made it all the way through factions, and indeed through Urgoz's Warren as well. So there's actually a lot of Guild Wars 1 hardcore that, well, with some pretty serious misadventures in there too that hasn't been uploaded, but we might start getting those going once again. But look, dude, I tell you what, this would be so sick. Like, this would be so unbelievably sick. If there could be a universe where Guild Wars 1 and 2 were getting updates in parallel, I mean, goodness me, that is some absolute cinema right there. But I actually do feel look, right, listen up. Do not take that out of context, guys. They haven't said that. They have in no way implied or stated that within the article. I have to do a disclaimer. I've already seen people like hardline, mainlining copium that Guild Wars 1 is back. And I don't want to be a part of that, guys. I don't want to be a part of that, okay? I don't want any of you to be a part of that. Be responsible with your speculation, guys, okay? Copium is one hell of a drug. Do not overdose it. All I'm saying here is that I would like it if that happened, and that would be sick, because I am actually a big Guild Wars 1 enjoyer. And I think there's a little bit of a whiff there, a teeny sniff, right? You know, just a hint of it drifting through the air. And look, if you want to go full conspiracy on this, guys, remember Colin, I think last year on Extra Life, said something like, you know, I'm paraphrasing here, but talked about how, you know, if they were going to go back, they would have kept Guild Wars 1 going. So could this be that happening in retroactively? I guess we'll find out. But anyway, that'll do it for now. Not too much to chew on here, but stay tuned for more updates. I will, of course, go over all of this stuff down the line, when it all gets unleashed into the world, into reality. But that's all for now. They even did a little trailer over here, guys. Look at this little trailer. But anyway, let me know what you think, gamers. Leave your comments down below, okay? Like the video, subscribe. Are you gonna log into Guild Wars 1? Are you a Steam Deck player? Right, I don't know. Are you ready for some enhanced UI? Are you ready for not having a monthly sub? Dude, imagine if they brought back a monthly sub for this. That would be funny, okay? They just like, they said, yeah, Guild Wars 1 Reforged, we reforged the sub fee as well. Although actually, phrasing, it never had a sub fee, obviously. I was memeing. But anyway, that'll do it. Leave comments, follow, subscribe. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. I'm out of here. Shout out to YouTube, by the way. Shout out to YouTube.